11 concurrent viewers. I think we're gonna do this. Just so y'all see Ryan dancing real quick.
This podcast is ready to go.
I like it.
I get hyped too easily.
All right, for the 13 folks that patiently waited for us, we're gonna kick things off. If you weren't able to catch the intro, we'll go ahead and rewind a little bit and kick things off here. So, welcome everybody. My name is Jesse the Bison, and I am joined with Tess.
Hello.
And today's guest is Ryan Paul Thompson, founder of GAAM. And
Hello, everybody.
Boom. And this show is a podcast aimed to learn from each other and give value to our listeners as we pursue our mission with AIJ Jacksonville to unite and inspire the creative community. So without further ado, please welcome Ryan Paul Thompson. Finger clicks.
Snapping? I like that.
I didn't want to be too loud.
Let's rejoice in having sound and audio.
Oh, that's right. You guys were in the dark before. For too long.
Adam says he misses your angelic voice, Ryan.
Aw.
But yeah, without further ado, let's just go right into it. We do have some questions for you, Ryan, and this is again, we're going to have the goal in mind to learn from each other and see how we can apply our skills as creatives into the gaming side of things, and how we can bring some of the gaming community into the design side with AIGA Jacksonville. But can you go ahead and just kind of start us off and tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Ryan from GAAM. Started GAAM in 2012. But before that, I started off as a designer / artist. I went to school. I'm from Duval. I'm from Jacksonville, born and raised. And I pursued fine arts at UNF. I wanted to draw comic books. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. My dad was like, one day you're going to have to move out of the house. I was like, you got a point. And then I started going down the path of graphic design, which led me down to the more I designed, the more I wanted to make things move. And I got into, I started picking up a little bit about coding and animation. This is back when Flash was a thing. That's how old I am, Jesse. And as I did more of that, and throughout the rest of my career, you can, as a creative person, you just want to create. Like, it doesn't really matter what the medium is or the platform. So I just kept on creating, and I got to the point where I was teaching kids how to make games, and like quick games. I think you were probably at the school at the time when like we were teaching kids how to make Angry Birds, and some of the kids were like making, I remember one guy, Jason, made Angry Babies, and I was like, I really don't want to call CDC, but this is a good game. And everybody would ask after that, what do I do now? Because I've got this skill set and this passion. I can make a game, albeit even a simple one, but I want to pursue this. And it was always the same, like, well, you gotta move because there's nothing for you here. But this is like back in, this is pre 2012. And eventually just got to that talk about or be about it phase. And I was like, I think we could do something here in Jacksonville because we have so many gamers, but also so many creative people. Like, a lot of my friends were artists and designers and developers, and all those skill sets translate into various parts of the gaming industry, whether you're a traditional designer, whether you're in packaging, marketing, front end, UI, UX, back end. There's so many different opportunities in gaming. I was like, all right, let's do what we can do here and show our appreciation of gaming and exemplify gaming as an art form. And we'll do like an art show, our interpretation of a gaming art show. And that kind of just spiraled into GAAM, where all these people just make stuff related to gaming. And yeah, cut me off anytime. I don't know what else you want me to say about this.
So you were essentially motivated to create this out of a need.
Yeah, I mean, I love gaming, obviously. And my brother did. Like that's something we. I remember my brother and I being underneath a tree when we were kids. It'd be really cool if we could make this kind of game, and it would do. You could shoot fireballs and fly. Like those were the kind of talks we would have. And then I grew up in the arcades. My mom got me my first Atari and Nintendo. I loved gaming, and I used to draw levels. I used to draw like I would draw Mario, Transformers, and Spider Man. And as time went on, I found opportunities like, okay, how can I introduce graphic design into like my artistic skills? But in the back of my head, I would always like look at games. I was looking at gaming magazines. I remember grilling Game Pro magazine, going like, who drew this? The anatomy of this character is way off. Or I look at the art direction of games today, or the UI. Like in class, we used to have so many conversations about the game Dirt, and that's a racing game. But the UI and the experience, the UX in that game is so on point. So yeah, I just freaking love games, Jesse. I love games. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What did you love? I didn't hear you.
Yeah. So let me take another sip of this water.
So one thing I definitely appreciated about what you did with GAAM was that your day job was working as an interaction designer, and you essentially built up this network that I saw like really really big companies doing with a staff of like a dozen people, but you essentially had it was just you and a few volunteers, and you were making all the design assets, all the graphics, all the promo, the badges, and so you were essentially now using your skill set in a new pursuit. And
Yeah.
did you find that now that you're doing more for GAAM more fulfilling, and it kept you engaged and wanting to hone in on your craft when it comes to designing, creating imagery, and promoting?
Yeah. So I gotta first off, I'd give a shout out to Clara Koo, because she was probably, Clara, like she was a former student as well, um, because she helped me a lot in terms of just churning that stuff out. And the deeper we got into GAM, we essentially, like you said, we became the marketing team, we became the communications team, we became the social media management team for what we were doing. But instead of having an actual paid staff, we were just doing it because we loved doing it. And it made it so where the things we were creating were really fulfilling, because we had our own voice and our own passion we had the choice to decide what are we going to make and what are we going to do. Like if we wanted to make an ad campaign / social media campaign of choose your own path, because the other term is license and copyright and you'll get in trouble if we say it, we could do a campaign where users could choose their own path through social media cues or whatnot. If we wanted to go into like some 80s 90s retro wave synth style, we could do that. If we wanted to do something that was like in vein of like a Bauhaus type of treatment, we could do that. But we were forced to be like our own creative directors at that point and saying, okay, here are the things that we want to do creatively, but does this serve the need of, one, what our objective is, and two, will our audience be able to interpret and digest what it is that we're trying to create in a way that, again, serves the objective. And so in a way, we became our own bosses in terms of like shutting down our own ideas. And also we were like, okay, we were forced to become very streamlined production people. So a lot of the creativity that you hold as a designer, once you get into an understanding of, okay, we're now making something that it's not just, hey, the big show is our creative culmination of over like 6 months to a year. But all the marketing and social media and other creative stuff that's created up to that point, you're creating hundreds and hundreds of pieces. Sometimes you're going to have like 10 to 20 pieces just go out in a week. So you quickly, some of the creative pieces get, okay, this needs to become a production solution. We need a production solution for this. How do we create X amount that can be versatile? And how do we still make time to do like the bigger creative pieces? Like if, okay, this deserves its own photo shoot, we need to coordinate a whole team of people and have videographers, this and this. Okay, this one we can just get a stock image and throw it up there and put like some cool text and shoot it out, you know.
Awesome. Now, for the folks that are not too familiar with GAAM, how can, let's say you're a creative or you're a fan of gaming, what are some things that GAAM does in the community that that you've kind of woven into your project?
So there's a fighting ring behind 618. No, I'm kidding. How to get involved creatively? Was that the question? Sorry, I should have paid more attention instead of trying to say something stupid.
Oh no, just for the folks that are not familiar with GAAM, whether they're gamers or designers, is there a I'm blanking out here. I just had it. Tess, help me out. the
She was still thinking about what her friend's wearing for that date.
I really was. I'm stuck in the past.
Yeah, for the folks that want to get involved, like what are some of the things that y'all do in the community, like with charity or anything like that?
Yeah. So
Designers, content creators, logo designers.
yeah, okay. So we now hold monthly or somewhat monthly art competitions online. And for people who want to create, whether you're an illustrator, a graphic artist, a photographer, a cosplayer, what have you, we put together different themes every month, and we call them art duels. And you submit whatever it is. You can go to like gamshow.com/art duels. You submit your work, and we have kind of two prizes that go up for that. One for the people's choice, and then one judge's choice. Because we all know like, some things are just a popularity contest, and sometimes the cream doesn't rise to the top, and then it really sucks for the creative people who have a tremendous skill set. Like, oh well, this person has 30,000 followers on Instagram. Of course, they're going to win. So we want to make sure we could kind of balance that out and reward both kind of systems. So prize goes to the winner. Prize goes to several local charities: Rethreaded, First Coast No More Homeless Pets, Extra Life, St. Jude Children's Hospital. There's a few others that get rotated in there. So we do that online, kind of monthly. When COVID wasn't going on, we had other things going on that eventually we hope to reintroduce. Like we did drink and draws, which actually was something that was introduced to me back when I was a student, and I wasn't sure if it was AIGA that used to host them or just other people within the AIGA. I used to host drink and draws, which those were really cool. And actually, Fluffy Butt Arts kind of reintroduced us to that. Other than that, it just really depends on what the community wants to do. That's how our whole team has kind of worked since day one. It's very collaborative, Warhol-esque, where in terms of, do you have a creative or cool idea, and is this something that we can actually implement, have time to do? Does it make sense for us? Can we give you the resources to actually make it worthwhile for you as a creative person at the same time? Because if it's something where, hey, you want to do this thing and you come to GAAM with it, and I feel that, oh, well, I don't think that GAAM can do enough for you, but this idea is awesome. It would be great for GAAM, but what is GAAM going to do for you? Then we'll say no and not do it. If it's something where, okay, you have this great idea and it would be great for GAAM, and oh, you know what? I've got this, and this person on the team, and they'd be more than happy to mentor you and help you like bring up your skill sets and this other thing. Or this is a cause that you're behind, and we know we can help you raise money towards that and actually do something good and make it mutually beneficial like that, then we're all about it. That's how most of GAAM has come together. Like when we built these giant Pokemon statues for a show one year, and it was something where Brittany, Marie Crawford, Fluffy Butt Arts, and Jem Peak, it was their idea to make this thing. And I was like, that's an awesome idea. How much money do you need? Because I don't have it. And they were like, well, we really just want to build this thing. I'm like, okay, let me see if I can find the money, because I don't want you to just do it out of, your good, your heart. And so, we find the money in the sponsorship so they could make the thing. The same thing, like Alex Salas, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Alex
Sorry for butchering that.
What was that?
Sorry for butchering that.
Yeah, my bad. AWS Craft. There you go. I know your handle. Um, he makes so much cool stuff. He has all these ideas, and usually he's like, "Hey, Ryan, I really want to make this cool thing, blah blah blah." And he's like, "I'll just do it for cost. I just want to make this." And I'm like, "All right, I will find the money, and I need to find extra money because you shouldn't just like be doing this." Sometimes people have like a cause they believe in. Like that's one of the ways we got together for collecting food for feeding Northeast Florida. Um, it's really just being open to ideas from creative people and then figure out, hey, can we do this or can we actually help to do this? And is it a mutually beneficial end goal? I've been at the other end of that. Like, I've been an intern at companies where they're just using you up. I've been the artist where people are just like, yeah, that's great. You could draw that for me. Thanks. And now I'm going to do this thing with my band and never talk to you again. Like, I want to make sure that that it's a mutual exchange. And sometimes that's hard to hear, especially younger creative people. This is a message for the younger creative people. Sometimes
Zoom in on him.
Yes, zoom in. Camera 1, what's going on right now? Bring me back to camera 2. Sometimes when you hear no, it's not because you're not good enough, or it's not because someone doesn't like you. You know, sometimes it's genuinely because there isn't enough opportunity for you and the skill sets you provide. Like, I've had to turn away people from jobs in my day job. Like, I've had people interview that are fantastic, and I've told them, your skill set is amazing, your portfolio is perfect. I don't think you'd be a good fit for this job, because I think within 6 to 12 months, you've already outgrown this job and you haven't even walked through the door. And I understand you need X amount of work to get to that next job, but this isn't a good place for you. This isn't a good stepping stone position. You need to find another stepping stone position to get you to where you need to be. And I will do everything I can to back you or get you to that next place, but I think you working here is going to be a detriment to you and this place. So again, all the skill sets in the world, wonderful person, but sometimes it isn't because you're good enough. Sometimes there are outside circumstances.
And you've been
that's a tangent.
I feel like you've been the kind of person that definitely helps people find their way, and if you see something in them, you're like, you need to do this, or you're really good at that, and I suggest you check this out, or apply yourself here, or quit your job. Like, have you run into instances where you've helped people find kind of get out of a rut and apply themselves a little bit differently and get into a position where now they're doing something that they love to do?
Yeah, I've helped a lot of people get off of addictions, Jesse. I don't know, I'm kidding. There was actually...
Okay.
I want to turn this into a TLC show.
You will leave here feeling good about yourself.
That's right. Actually, Justin, last year, I would probably say is probably a great example of that, because you know Justin, and I remember when he first came through class, and usually I go through this thing where I would ask all the students, "Hey, show me something that you're really proud of that you've made, and let's talk about it." And that was a good way for me to kind of get a feel for the student and also what their passions were and their skill levels and all that type of thing. And this is a web design class, and Justin comes in and he has his portfolio site and he's talking about it, and I'm like, well, what are you happy about with this site? And he talks about the clouds. I'm like, the clouds? Why are you so happy about these clouds? And he goes into all the time and effort and the satisfaction that he had from learning how to create these clouds using kind of like an algorithm or through code. And he just keeps on talking about that. He doesn't want to talk about like the blues and the skies. He doesn't want to talk about like just what kind of formation of clouds they are and like the feelings that you get from the clouds. He just wants to talk about how the clouds are made and how happy he was with that. And I was like, okay, you're not a designer, you're a developer. You gotta stop designing stuff. I was like, one, this page looks like crap. But two, you know the process you went through making it speaks volumes. Like, listen to how you're talking about this. And he became one of those students that you hope to have, because within a few semesters he had exceeded like where I was in terms of like coding. Like he definitely like shot past me, and it got to the point where I was like, Justin, I don't have anything else I can teach you, but we can put together classes where you will be given the opportunity so you can keep going forward. Let's figure out things so you can continue to grow. Let's get you going down the path that you need to go down so you can get like that development position when you get out of here. And
Yeah, shout out to Justin Lasher.
yeah, guy's phenomenal. I still have
He's a beast.
pictures of him. He is. But there's a lot of times like that, and I've been fortunate enough to have people who have guided me in the past. You know, like there was, when I was at an ad agency, there was a guy, Brian Cox, who was awesome, and he was like the old man talking, and he would just share these stories and point you down the right path because he already would walk down those paths.
Let's talk a little
That's
bit.
awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about you know, the creative profession and how it can be applied to the gaming audiences. One thing I've noticed that there's a lot of need for design and you know, essentially vendors who can provide some creative work, whether that be branding, emotes, little animations, and Tess, I know you have moderated on Twitch channels before as well, and you can kind of see the ecosystem, and it was essentially built by developers and gamers, and you're starting to see this wave of creatives coming in and using like Twitch as a platform to share their art. But one thing I found interesting was there's a lot of self-taught people who love streaming or love gaming so much that they just kind of figure out how to build their overlays, and you know, I'm sure they're much better than me at putting together a stream and hitting live and being successful with it. But I've noticed that you know, they could definitely, I see opportunities where they can partner with a designer or creative, like, you know, I'm not so good at this, but let me find somebody who can help me out. And that's what I like about you know, if you're a creative person, you can expand into this new area of gaming. Have you seen like designers kind of integrating into this scene, and like they were branding and they were producing work in traditional creative sense, like a design job or maybe freelancing, but now they're applying themselves in the gaming side and now picking up gaming clients, you know, large and small.
Yeah, Tess, definitely jump in on this, like wherever. But I've seen this huge. It really okay. So it sucked at first for, especially for graphic designers when they got out of school for like the past, I don't even know how long, because there were so few jobs for graphic designers and even less well-paying jobs for graphic designers. And
Still is. Let's be real.
yes, it still exactly still is, and that's part of the problem, because graphic design was so heavily leveraged on print as a medium. This print decline and the ability to actually track the return on investment on print decline, so did the value of the graphic designer. And a lot of, I will say, speaking anecdotally, a lot of academia did a horrible job in terms of adapting to that. Like they would teach about, okay, you could be a coder or you could be a graphic designer. And then they started finally saying, okay, yeah, you know, you could build websites, but then they weren't doing a great job of telling designers, here's how your skills would translate to a digital platform in terms of UI, UX. Like it doesn't just have to be boring blocks and negative space. Like you can be, like anybody who's been to like the FLA or like a WWW awards and whatnot, you can start seeing there's a lot more versatility and flexibility in terms of design. Fast forward a few years, probably close to a decade, and now with Twitch and we'll say like Facebook and YouTube, all these live streaming platforms, you now have a platform where designers are needed again, and not so much designers that understand how to use like Node.js and Ajax and CSS a high extent. Like we just need good ass designers because between over one, I can't tell you how many crappy overlays I've seen. Where like, okay, the whole screen's covered up. Can you even see the game being played? Can you see the actual graphics that they're trying to display to you? Oh, there's a sponsor. Well, that's covered up. Oh, the text is so tiny that you can't. These are all problems that designers know how to solve. And now there's an opportunity because these marketing teams and gaming companies and streamers are like, well, crap, I need to actually be able to plug all this other crap. And I don't know how to do it. And oh, wait, I need an emote. All designers like, emotes? What the hell? Oh, you mean an icon? Like, yeah, I can make an emote. That's fine. That's easy. So hopefully the scales start to teeter. Like I've already seen people who like put together, like they're selling their own live stream kits and overlays, and then like they'll do variations.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of freelance work off that. But as you see esports grow and just a general need to have live streaming become a portion of a gaming's life cycle, you're seeing new graphic design jobs kind of pop up. And hopefully, I hope it continues to split off where, yeah, UI UX people, you could do this job, but really use your skills towards something else. And this is as a UI UX person. Like if you're a UI UX person, do UI UX. If you're a designer or you're focusing on design, hell yeah, you should be doing more overlays. Like sell yourself on that stuff. Get paid for it. If someone's got 300,000 like subscribers on their,
yeah, and
they
they're
should
using
be
like a
paying you
free
$10.
template or something. It's just like I can totally brand you and like
Yeah.
and translate what you all that you encompass into a mark, into a symbol, and into a brand system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me give a
I've
shout out
seen-
to Corey Thomas. He's a designer from he graduated from UNF, and he moved up to New York. I don't know if he's still there, but I've been following him for a while, and here's and he is. I've noticed he was streaming on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
and so I tune into some of his streams and I check him out, and I'm following him on Instagram, and I'm seeing that he's going from doing like these freelance gigs at a different job to now his freelance are other streamers. So
Yeah.
he's built. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick here. So he was he's in apparel design in the music industry, and he
Sophie Thomas. Sorry, reading the chat.
yeah. But yeah, he's I believe he's still doing that. Designing apparel,
Mm-hmm.
but he's picking up clients on this in the streaming world, and
Mm-hmm.
he's partnering with other folks to make overlays and doing those animations. So if you are
Mm-hmm.
a creative who's good with After Effects, or you're a filmmaker who loves
God,
to
yeah.
edit, imagine who's like one of the bigger streamers like Shroud or a Ninja. Those are just the most common ones I
Mhm.
can think of. But
Oh,
imagine
God, video
working for
editors
them.
can actually get work again.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, transitions,
Mhm.
different scenes. So yeah, I think it's. He just came to mind. I want to give him a shout out because I think he's doing some really cool stuff. So if you look him up on Corey Thomas Design on Instagram, and his website is Corey Thomas Design. And he's had some really cool clients, but he's just doing a lot of just fun stuff and like connecting with people. And we talked a little bit about Twitch and how it's a whole different world. And I do see a lot of folks resorting to like Fiverr.com to get.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
No.
I'm not. I mean,
I,
Scream.
I mean, it's.
I-
For,
I had a buddy complain to me the other day. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm getting some work. I'm updating my logo and stuff, and I got these 3 off Fiverr." I was like, "Yeah, these are like garbage." And he's like, "Do you really think so?" I'm like, "Well, you paid like $5 for it, so why are you getting upset?" He's like, "Oh, I guess you have a point." I'm like, yeah, like this. Why are you mad? Like, why? Where else would you pay someone $5 and expect something like, "Yeah, I sell my product for like $100, but I want to pay you $5 to represent it"? I'm like, come on, man.
But I think it also goes to show that there is a need for affordable design, and
Yes.
Fiverr is that platform, and there are really good designers on there. And I think I've seen Fiverr is now beyond $5. Oh,
Yeah,
they're
true.
out there. Like they do charge quite a bit, but I don't. The platform itself is for folks who want something quick, something
Mhm.
affordable, and maybe they're not thinking about the design as important as it should be. Whereas like for
Yes.
us, we put our heart and soul into developing a visual system that makes sense, that it is unique to you, um, that embodies what you're trying to communicate, the aesthetics, and how it even works with other things as you're developing, let's say, print material, or let's say your logos appear somewhere. You develop those rules in a brand system so that
Hmm.
you're seeing consistency and presenting yourself as a more, I would say, more legitimate entity in the streaming world. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of value in getting to and connecting with a designer that can help you brand your business online as a streamer.
Without a doubt. And it's one of those things where it's not a one-off situation if there's success there. The whole streaming, not just as an individual, but also like for companies too, provide these additional revenue streams. And it's something where you can immediately see the revenue coming in once it's at that point. If you're an individual, you got to hit certain check marks and qualifications, and you're like, okay, is money coming in for doing this? For a company, you're able to gauge like the engagement, the number of views. It's like, so okay, will have clicks translate from this actual stream to go to wherever? Like, there's ways to translate the value, and then as you're seeing that, you're kind of given this opportunity of going, okay, well, these streams did really well. And this is when we had it's kind of like a campaign launch. Like, we had all this new stuff and people really received it well. And there was an emotional connection at this point. We saw what the response was like in the chat. We saw the transition over to the actual site. This was the sales. And then we stopped updating the graphics and amongst other things. And here's where our engagement and our other metrics started to flatline and drop. We can try to reintroduce new graphics again and then monitor and see whether there was a jump again. Oh, there was? Okay. Let's rinse, wash, repeat. Is this something we need to keep doing consistently? Yes. And I've seen this happen not just with companies, but with streamers. Even locally, I've seen people as they've started to stream and they get a little more serious about it. They're like, okay, they get introduced to Streamlabs doing kind of like the monthly subscription. And it's like, okay, here's your fancy graphics so you can just get something done. Kind of like what you're saying, Jesse. You just need to get your feet off. You just need to take off and go, and then you can figure everything else out. And then as they start to do that, you're like, okay, I really like what I got from Streamlabs, but I want something more individual now. I see I now have a need to have an individual graphic. I need an individual emote. Oh, the people in my chat are requesting this thing, but to get this thing, it requires a skill set I don't have. But once I have it, they're going to subscribe and give me money. So like, the correlation is financially there and making it again. I just want to see graphic designers get jobs, Jesse. That's the bottom line.
Let's get out there and
graphic
get some
designers need more
money.
jobs.
Yes.
That's my platform. Vote for me.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more here too. We do want to help creatives and designers, especially now with folks losing their employment, and we have to make ends meet no matter what. So, and what I appreciate about our profession is we can create something out of literal nothing. Like, if you have an idea, we will help you produce that idea. Like, it's sometimes more difficult for ourselves if it's our own idea because we're our own worst critics. So then that's an opportunity for you to bring someone in to do that work for you, to partner with you, so you don't have to design it yourself. But one thing I do like is that we can go out there and get it. Like, if someone needs some branding, or if they need a flyer, if you put yourself out there and communicate those services, you're going to get some callbacks. Someone does need some help, and if they don't pay for it, like, donate your time if you can. Like, I mean, don't give 40 hours a week for free, but if someone needs, like,
within reason.
Yeah, if someone has I don't know, if they're looking to get a business card put together and they don't know how to do that, I mean, you can do that in 30 minutes, put it together, send it off to prints, and then have that box sent straight to them. And now you're helping that person. You're helping that person eat. You're helping that person grow their business, sustain themselves. And I think as designers, I think we have an opportunity to leverage the cool things that we already produce for ourselves and like within our spaces. And going back to gaming, like, okay, let's apply this in gaming. So esports is taking off. And all right, well, what is an esports team? It's a sports
What
team.
is it though, Jesse? No,
Well,
go
well,
ahead.
it's a sports team that has a competitive element to it, and there's an identity to it. Like all
Yes.
teams, like it's factions, right? It's like red versus blue, like, and how do you stand out? And being that an esports team is a sports team, what do sports teams have in a design sense?
Mm-hmm.
Apparel, design, branding, promo items. And I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Print Jacks. He's our their chapter sponsor, and Brian is our chapter president. And what I like,
Ooh.
yeah,
Print Jacks.
yeah. So, well, and I bring them up because they produce promo items as well. So not just printed materials like brochures and flyers. That's like super. That's just that's some printed stuff you can leverage, but in a sense, or on the other side of the print production world, you can produce. Custom beanies. Like we know how to set up files for embroidery. We can design something with the end result being a patch. So you can illustrate it in a way that it works as a patch.
One day there may be a need for people to print, individual or custom masks.
Yeah,
One day.
I mean, hypothetically, I
yeah.
don't know.
And then there's T-shirts too. So I know I've seen like Twitch and a lot of the streaming platforms, they offer like print on demand. So this is our literal backyard. Like we know how to produce the nicest quality merch. We can assist with the file setup so that when you send it off to a vendor, it's really nice.
Bruh,
Yeah, yeah,
I hear that. So the common thing I hear from is somebody who's starting a business. They need all the things that you're talking about, all the promo materials, whether it's like an esports related thing or streaming or whatever. Like, okay, I want shirts, I want some stickers, business cards, I want this kind of beanie, blah 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 blah. And they try to take it on themselves, which is, that's awesome. I think most creative people are do-it-yourselfers. We're very much problem
absolutely.
solvers.
Yeah,
And then you hear about a week later the level of frustration because like, what the hell DPI do they want this at? Like, okay, they want this kind of image, but here's like the file size restraint. Like, how do I get to that size and send it over? Like, it's problems that creative people deal with on a regular basis, and I I hope that it's something that we leverage and educate the people that would possibly employ us or work with us more on, because it's not just, hey, I need somebody to make something pretty or make something cool.
like it has to work for me. It has to. I have to be
Yeah.
able to use it in a different in different mediums, right?
Yeah, well, not just that. What they need is a problem solver. A lot of times you'll see, especially I know in my job, we've been pushing heavily for this, for creative people to become business analysts.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
because creative people, you solve problems. So if Jesse, or let's say Tess, is to design like a shirt for me, she's not just, hey, here's the image and throws it at me and that's done with it. I'm probably gonna ask her, oh well, who do I send this to? How should I send this? And then she'll probably, oh well, you already have this kind of image, but if I prepared it like this, you could also use it for this, this, and this. And I know as designers, y'all been through a million times where, the client wants something that's full color. And look, I just need to give you the black and white version first, just to make sure it looks decent, because I know you want to employ it on this, this, and this, and it's not going to look good on that background. Or you want to blow it up to a billboard later on, where you're going to have to make sure that you shoot it like this, or all those kind of things you can foresee. You are the person with clairvoyance in these situations, and you
Mm-hmm.
can see the future, and you can educate the people that you're working about those problems. And maybe they don't have the money at this moment to pay for all those things, and that's fine. You're not trying to get their money, you're trying to educate them so they know the path that they're going to be walking, and that they can be prepared for it. And hopefully when that time comes, they trust you enough to walk with them. Because like you were saying, Jesse, there's so many things that you could make and that you know how to make and you're good at it. And sometimes if you just make those business cards and hand it off just as a good faith, and you're like, this is only gonna take me 30 minutes. I'm just let this person know that, yeah, I'm the person that they can trust and work
Mm-hmm.
with. That carries you forward for like 4 or 5 years.
I think
Absolutely.
there's like sometimes it's hard also we need to communicate with as designers communicate with I guess, the people that are hiring us, what logos and everything that we're giving them. Because as being someone from marketing, I've received a lot of logos that are, even though they're AI files or EPS files, they still have, or I guess
Don't say it, Tess.
even a PNG, they still have
Mm.
a white background.
Mm-hmm.
They're not transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's even communicating that information that this, hey, employer, this is what I'm giving you. Please send you these files specifically to your printer or whatever in order to get, you know, the correct response from your printer.
Yeah. And now with all the Twitch stuff, it's being able to prepare something that's pixel perfect because you know what it's going to be displayed like at these tiny screens. Like sometimes they want this very verbose graphic. You're like, this thing's going to be 16 by 16 pixels. No one's going to like realize what like it's awesome when it's blown up. It's just tiny, you can't understand it. But that's the knowledge and experience and the value that a creative person has. And yeah, for these streams, and Jesse, like I think it's wonderful that we went through kind of like some of the difficulties in putting in launching this episode, because all the problems you went through just now are problems you can speak towards with other people who are going to stream, and there are other things that you learn as you go forward that are not predictable by the person doing it. And it translates over onto every platform, every medium. There are those kind of issues and problems. That experience makes you an expert and a value to somebody else. There are things like with OBS, like depending on how many assets you have loaded in the background, okay, that's going to tie up like your system management stuff. So if you're trying to stream this game and you want these kind of overlays and resources, but all this stuff is now going to chug down your CPU, and okay, well maybe you should do this so it offloads to your GPU instead. Like that stuff that people don't expect to hear from a designer, but because you're not just a designer, you are a creative problem solver, and you have experience that lends very well to them, other people being successful. Sorry, Vince, jump in.
They're saying, Ryan, you're the master of multitasking in the chat.
We do have a couple questions from people. You got to answer those too.
Yeah.
Who cares about them? I'm just worried about y'all.
Oh,
Forget
okay.
the chat. Vote for Ryan 2020. No, what are the questions in the chat?
When some Adam Chantani.
That's good enough. No.
Sorry. They're asking when they can collaborate and make a game with you. So what would be your ideal game now?
When can we collaborate and make a game? When I finally have enough money to quit my day job. Which would have to be my VP asked me that once. He's like, "When are you gonna quit? You're about to quit doing this stuff and just do this GAAM thing full time, right?" And I'm like, "It's a trick question. Don't ask me that. I like this job. Please don't fire me because of this."
What are you asking me right now?
Yeah, but ideal game. If I was to make an ideal game right now, it would probably be like a 2D side-scrolling Mega Man-like game. I feel like that would be kind of easy to make in terms of, and would use the skill sets that I got, and be possible to be completed within a reasonable amount of time. And I would learn enough to then make another game after.
All right, let's talk about. Let's keep this example going. So there's an idea to make a game. We're on the call with designers and gamers. So in order to make this game, what is in this illustration is in a designer's tool bag. So they can they can develop they can do the character animation, the character design, the background design, and back in the day it was Flash, where you would use that as to the program to animate it, but you can it all starts in Illustrator too, so you can illustrate this character, add some hinges, and now it goes from, back then it was Flash, now it's After Effects. Now you can import an Illustrator file into After Effects and animate that. So and then now you partner with someone who is on the development side of things, and now let's program this game to side scroll, to jump, to move, to react to the controller. So like the designers in the more on the front end, where they're helping you create this vision, and then you have to it's essential to partner with other people to make it a reality.
Like, so everybody's really familiar with a concept artist. probably it's kind of what you're speaking about, Jesse. You'd have a concept artist kind of create. This is the overall vision, the feel, the tone, making sure you're hitting certain beats for this game. And then the team's like, okay, we're in agreement. The director's like, yeah, this is what we're about. Blah blah blah. Sometimes the concept artist has additional skills where they can like take it and 3D model it and render it. Sometimes they don't, and there's like whole other teams devoted to that, depending on like the style of the game. I was like, yeah, maybe it's something 2D, and you can just create the hinges, and you can go in and like, all right, we just need these parts, and we can animate it. Sometimes it's more in depth than that, but there's so many different types of artists and people involved in making this stuff now, and it's not where only the people who know Unreal can be involved in making a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like God of War. Like so many people play God of War and we all freak out over like those initial images. Like, look at the world that they're gonna create here. Last of Us 2. Like just the artwork from that is like astounding.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima. I am the ghost. I am the ghost.
That's awesome. Yeah, the just thinking about the monetization aspect of it and how do you support yourself doing these things. So you can, let's say, get hired on to do some of that initial concept work or be on retainer, or work it into the deal where, all right, let's say this becomes an actual game that will appear on Steam or some more other download platform where people get their games, and now it's like, okay, can I partner with you? And if this launches off, there could be some income generated from that. Always thinking about how to support yourself.
Especially, so there's so many indie games and indie studios now, and I always say, be wary, of course, when there's a situation when like, hey, do all this work and we'll give you a percentage of the product. Make sure you're still getting paid something and not just a percentage of the product. I think, especially seasoned designers and creative people have been like, yeah, that product will probably never come out. When it was like, we're just going to give you a percentage of the thing and no actual money. If you're getting money plus a percentage, you're in the good. But there's so many opportunities just like that. Even people in Jacksonville, I've known multiple people here in town that are remote workers and do concept art, do illustration work for games. Some of them do a little bit of ZBrush, some of them do a little bit of Unreal. But these are job listings that are available online. Every major gaming company keeps their careers board active. Like they're posting stuff all the time.
All right, you guys heard that? Check the job listings of game development companies. Let's go.
Go to Blizzard, go to Activision. I mean, I'm saying all the companies, everyone's like, oh my God, all these companies are evil. But then as soon as y'all get a paycheck, like, yeah, I'll go work there. EA, Rockstar,
I've
Warner
seen
Brothers.
EA. I've seen EA's like all over the place constantly.
Yeah, they're constantly looking to hire people.
But that's always a bit intimidating, being someone who's applied to a lot of jobs. It's like, so why is this person or this company still hiring? Is there a massive turnaround rate?
There is a turnaround rate, and it's very similar to. That's a good point. Hire her. Okay, she's my.
Sorry, you froze for a second.
Froze.
Can you repeat that?
Sorry. Main thing is, I promised you were going to give out a lot of money. It's all right.
Okay, we'll stick with that one.
Yeah.
Money's good. That's all you need to hear.
That's it.
Sign on.
Just
apply.
Remember, this is Tessa's Patreon. You can find that. So most of these companies are very similar to IT companies. And this is speaking someone like I used to be in HR. I don't know how I ended up in an HR job, but I was in HR for a while.
Let's just say he's not there anymore. I'm just kidding.
No, that didn't work out. But there's a turnaround of 2 years typically is what you can keep somebody on at most of these companies, especially like an IT or gaming company. And at that point, you have to make the decision of whether or not you're going to fire or hire this person. At that point, the labor laws are such that, okay, this is when you have to, the cutoff is, you have to decide if you're going to start doing healthcare benefits and all these other things. That's why a lot of times you'll see people roll over into another position and still stay freelance or have like just something else. They'll drop somebody and then bring them back on. It's to avoid a lot of other kind of like fees, let's just say. So if you're not looking for something full-time and salaried and long-term stability, like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with jumping from one job to another every 2 years and I want to have like some freedom and whatnot, it's great. If you're like, I want to be at a job for like the rest of my life, I don't even know if that exists anymore. But it's still not. Find some other place, like find some place where you can stick around 5 to 10 years. But if you're okay with it, apply to those places. You know, sometimes if you can search Glassdoor or pretty much anywhere on Twitter and find out what the job stability is like of a certain role.
Mm-hmm.
Some roles last longer than others. Sometimes you're like, Last of Us was another great example. There was a huge layoff, not layoff, but a lot of people left that job for various reasons. Some companies like EA, yeah, layoffs pretty much every 2 year cycle. They just finished making like a few Madden games, time to bring some new people on, and then you'll notice the quality of the product drops, comes back. All that stuff is the main thing is all that information is out there. Don't be lazy and not look for it. Don't just say, I want a job and then wait for it to fall in your lap. Like hit those job boards, create your accounts. I used to always recommend people, and even I do this, keep a separate Word document of everything that you put into your resume, because you know every one of those systems is going to say, please submit your PDF. And now we need you to type up everything into a little field. And you're like, oh God, I got to find out what the phone number is for my high school all over again. Nah, just keep all that stuff in a Word doc file so you can copy and paste it after you finish your nicely designed resume. But yeah, all those companies, they keep updating their job list. So keep hitting them up. And if someone tells you no, try to follow up with like, okay, well, what can I do to improve? And if they have the time, they'll let you know the time. And if you see somebody else gets the job later on, look and see what was different and increase your skill set in the areas that you lack so you can get the job next time. Because you're still going to be hungry. Just because you don't get the job doesn't mean that you magically have money at that point. It means you got to find another job. I don't even know what the question was originally, but I know
the question was, should I work for EA Sports or should I not work for EA Sports?
Until you find another job, yes.
Okay.
You should work for EA Sports.
I mean, I'm sure they definitely have a marketing department. So let's say you land a gig at EA Sports. So I mean, think about the opportunities. So there are games that are.
Yeah, while we're talking.
Yeah. You know, they have games that are releasing. So that's there's package design involved. There's point of sale design involved. So like you're going into GameStop, you see this cardboard setup. So that's still a print design item. So someone illustrated it, or the designer, and then designer from a production standpoint has to set up a file to go to print, work with the vendor who does cardboard cutouts, who will convert these 3D design, the 3D design into a store display. So the opportunities are out there, and if you like the gaming space, or if you or whatever space it is, definitely pursue or look into it. There might be something there for you.
I mean, look at the NFL and EA this year. You can tell the marketing strategy is very aligned. There's a stylistic choice, like you'll see to the Jaguars and EA and everything else. We're like, hey, we're going for this playbook type style. We're using like these brush swishes and swooshes for our graphics. All that stuff then translates, like what Jesse says, not just to the point of sales materials and the covers of the games, but that means the commercials, the online ads, the social media posts. Like there's so much content to be created surrounding this, and it's going to change out next year. They're going to throw all this stuff away and start over again. So the opportunities are there. Don't turn your eye to them. And I'm searching there's a ton of EA jobs right now.
Sweet.
We're going to find something for Tess.
Woohoo.
Ferdy Martinez in the chat says to put on Google Drive so you can always access it, switching computers and all. So keeping track of those job leads.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah. And also Justin mentioned, going back to Fiverr real quick, he had a client who owned a barbershop who got a Fiverr logo, and now they have a real customized logo for them now that they worked with a designer to flesh out a fully developed system. So that's good. That's awesome to hear. And
Nice.
Katie Fosberg said, favorite esports team's brand identity. My friend recently showed me Evil Genius's rebrand. Definitely a huge stride from their old logo. So there's tons of from a branding perspective, if we want to touch on that. I've noticed that brands will generally refresh every so often. So imagine a long-standing game, like a legacy game, and you just know their branding, but they refreshed it. So or a company refreshes their brand. I just see that occurring a lot, so that it doesn't get stale, right?
Yeah,
So,
so hold on, I just posted a job for Tess in the chat. Nobody else applied to it. That's Tess's job. Director, EA Sports Communications.
oh hell
EA,
yeah.
if you're watching, Tess is the director of communications for AIGA Jacksonville. So she could do whatever this job is. Look, 401k with company match, tuition
They
reimbursement.
pay
Can you just
401k.
interview for the job for me? Because
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Thanks.
So I actually got my first opportunity in gaming kind of down the path of what you're talking about right now, Jesse. I love fighting. I still love fighting games. Sorry, honestly, by the
Hadouken!
background. Yeah. Ah! So,
Shoryuken!
and as much as I love Street Fighter, I never got a chance to work on Street Fighter. I did get to work with Capcom. So there's a game, King of Fighters. King of Fighters is coming out, and I saw their campaign online, and I was like, this campaign is garbage. Like, what do you guys like? Everything that you could do wrong and kind of miss in terms of understanding the community, that's what they were doing. And I literally wrote up this breakdown to them of the community and what the community wants, what their values are. I had a whole bunch of like numbers, and like I wrote this long, lengthy thing, and it wasn't insulting at all. I wrote it with respect, and I was like, hey, as a fan, I really want to see this game succeed. It's been around so long, I've played it forever. Here's some things I would really recommend to help you. And I was like, just so you know, I do this as a day job. I was like, yeah, I work at this ad agency down here in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm a web guy. So I'm aware of like the logistical problems in terms of doing these. So here's how you can get this. This is like, I detailed the hell out of it. And I heard back from them, and they were like, yeah, so we read over your document, and we'd like to know, would you like to come over here to just for a meeting and talk about what you're doing? And I was like, huh? Like, are you serious? And I was like, hell yeah. So I lied to my day job, and I flew over to LA.
Whoa.
And I missed the first flight, and I got there late. And then I was just really surprised because the guy with the accent was like Indian. And I was like, what? I'm like, I didn't expect that. And then he was like, what is y'all? And I'm like, yeah, I'm from the South. This is the thing we say. But we talked through kind of like the plans and like the holes and the problems and how to solve them. And I took over as kind of like a digital marketing strategist, but also a lot of design work came out of that. And I was like detailing, okay, here's all the design things that we need to do. Okay, something as simple as, mobile wallpapers, desktop wallpapers, here are these different forms of digital content that you don't have to pay additional for and will, spike your engagement. It's all shareable. We can look at these numbers. These are things that I can make for you. Please let me do some of it. And if you think it's effective, then pay me to do more of it. And that relationship went on for years. And it's one of those things where all these jobs have those opportunities, but sometimes you got to kind of kick the door down to get that opportunity. And sometimes you just have to, all you have to do is click a link. Like, right now it's so much easier because back then the people in charge weren't informed of the opportunities. Now a lot of us are the ones that are of the higher positions, so we can identify like, yeah, these are the things we need. I don't got time to do it, but these people, they're really good at it. Let's just get them to do it. Get this person. Yeah, I've looked at their resume. They're all about Twitch. Like, she already moderates the chats. She's a designer. We put her like in terms of like on the marketing position with our esports division. She'd be able to pick up and do this, and this. Like,
That's awesome.
hire Tess, EA. Just hire Tess. That's the main thing of this
Thanks,
podcast
please.
tonight.
No, that's great. And again, it's just going back to taking that chance and looking for those opportunities where you might not expect them, and there's definitely a space for the work that we do, and there's always a need for it somewhere. So, and I think that is the challenge and task at hand, is to figure out where those opportunities might be, go looking for them, and say yes to more opportunities and be more open to it.
Don't ever say, I was taught this years ago, don't ever say no. You can say no buts, but the main thing is like don't ever just give like a hard flat no. You need to provide a solution. Whether it's in your day career job or you're freelancing or whatever. If you're Think of it this way: if you're in the mentality, the mindset of when someone asks you for something, you're just saying no, or you're like, oh, my client is stupid, I won't do this. Yeah, that relationship ain't gonna be the best relationship. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're of the mindset of, okay, they're asking me to do something that, yeah, once we're done with this conversation, I want to vent to my other friends about how stupid they are. But right now, I'm gonna say, hey, I hear what you're saying. I think the actual solution you're looking for is this, and here's how we can accomplish this. That we can do this within the budget you have or within the time you have, the resources, whatever. Those are ideas that people can hear and work with. And especially for somebody who's looking to hire you, they want to hear that you have that type of mentality.
Awesome.
Hire
Let's,
Tessie.
yeah. EA. Let's check the chat real quick.
Everybody, if you've watched this stream, tag EA Sports or EA Tiburon on Twitter, on Facebook, and be like, Tess is ready.
She needs a job.
She needs a job. She's gonna take care of all the esports.
Yeah.
I mean, you just made me think of something. Ryan, you're really good at like prompt, just kind of on the whim, like shout out, like let's get you connected. Let's just shoot for the moon and like just I'm gonna DM someone at EA right now, and that's something I've always appreciated about you. It's like you encourage people to go that route, and you take those risks too. And one thing I mean, you built up the interactive department at the agency where I had interned, and I think that might be where we met. I'm not sure.
I wish we could have been there. I don't know if we were there at the same time, if we missed or what.
No, you were. I got there after you did. Yeah. But
Man,
that would have been killer.
Keeping brown people apart. That's what was happening.
We're here now. But I mean, you just made me think like I'm seeing a lot of stuff that you had built up that agency, and you're applying it into GAAM and just anything you're doing. So it's promotions, it's the marketing, it's doing the right strategies around social media that get that engagement and get people's attention. So I noticed it with GAAM, like you'll post pictures or have these contests, and you'll have people you'll have them tagged.
See behind the curtain now.
Yes, yes, I'm seeing that is so awesome that you're doing that, because you have to implement these strategies that everyone else is using to sell their products to get off the ground. Like, why can't you? It's like it's very it's accessible to everyone to just say, hey, let's put a plan together. And this is something I learned in my day job that I do in my day job, but you know what? It would be more effective if I can see this venture I have take off by applying myself here. So it's using those social media tactics and those tools, understanding interaction design and web design, and how does that funnel into your system as a whole. Do you drive people to that site? Is that something you want? Is the goal to educate people? And on the promotion side of things, you just have to find creative ways to get people's attention, and that's design, that's advertising, that's marketing. So for me, I just knew that GAAM was going to be a giant success because it was you behind the helm of it, like really pushing it and applying these skills that you had, and it inspired me to be like, oh my gosh, like now I know you can do anything you want so hats off.
Jesse.
No, I was trying to make
you hire Jesse after you hire Tess.
We'll take over EA Sports.
Yeah. But no, I've been extremely fortunate because I've been surrounded by a lot of good people and a lot of really good creative people. And it's one of those things where whatever marketing strategy or social media tactic or whatever it is that you do, it's only going to do well if it actually means something to the people that you're trying to get it out to. Unless you're some, if you're a TikTok influencer and you're selling stuff to kids, yeah, then you could like do a lip sync song and hopefully you'll get like thousands of views. That's fine. But outside of that, it has to resonate with the people, and that forces a certain amount of honesty that has to happen. You have to have a certain level of honesty and empathy. And there have been so many times that I have failed with GAAM, and it is very public. I make no qualms about letting people know, like, yeah, that thing we tried the other night, that didn't work. So we're not going to do it again. Or, hey, we did it, and I'm going to try it a few more times. I think there's something to it, and hopefully it'll work. And what happens is the people who it resonates with are like, yeah, you know what, you should keep doing this. And the people that don't like it, they definitely let me know they don't like it. But then it falls on me and the other people around me to listen and be like, okay, what does our community, what does our audience actually say? Okay, they like this, but we delivered the message wrong, or we weren't able to execute something properly, or okay, we executed this well, and this doesn't resonate. This isn't what's important to our audience. And so all the success that we have is because of the people in our community, like our audience, our customer, however you want to phrase it, the people make it successful. And then the people on the team actually listening to the community. If that circle doesn't happen, it breaks down, and then it's a loss for everybody.
Let's talk about the GAM show a little bit. So I every year I see you step it up in terms of the, the promotion of it, the experience. Looking at like other events. FYI, GAM is not a con, but if you can,
yeah, this just became my favorite podcast. Let me
But-
bookmark it.
But think about like the takeaways. So even if you're at any sort of conference for professional development, there are takeaways that that you give to your attendees for that experience. There's the branding of the event itself. So that's something a designer and creative can hone in on to provide that as a service. And I saw that like with the last GAM event I went to, you had the cool there's always a giveaway. There's always a cool branded bag. You have the lanyards. You have the badges and really cool stuff that you're just upping that experience for the person attending the event, and that's really just stuff that works, and how to get that created and how to get it produced and put it all together so that the person that shows up to the event has a really good time, has some really cool takeaways, they have some really good memories, and they associate that with the brand that you developed. And all of that came about from the hours and hours of work you did to develop the visuals and working with vendors and delegating to your volunteers like, hey, can you work on this, can you take this, and it all comes together really nicely. And I
need to do a better job of delegating.
Are you the kind of person that just wants to do it all yourself, and is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm horrible about it. Plus, on top of that, GAM takes a very, I want to say, educational approach to the way we do things. So I'm very aware when we have people on the team who want to help with things, but maybe they're not at the skill level to do certain things. So at that point, it's like, okay, how much time can we devote? I want to make sure we're giving time to just you getting better and growing before we completely throw you out there, which usually ends up me going, okay, I want to make sure you're training and learning more stuff. So I'm going to do this in the meantime, but I want to walk you through it a little bit. Like, okay, here's why we made certain decisions. Here's how we did this, and this. Here's like execution wise, how we did this, and this. Like even right now, a lot of the teams starting to experiment with more video content creation.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been going on for a while now, and none of their pre-produced content is out there yet. Some of them have been live streaming or whatnot, but right now they're working on, okay, how do I produce this content? We're reviewing it internally, going, okay, well, this one ran really long. Here are the parts you could cut shorter. These are the beats that you missed, and we're like, so unfortunately, I need to do a better job of delegating and just letting go and letting people make more mistakes, the same way that they give me the opportunity to make mistakes.
You got to let go and let GAM.
I do. I'll say this. Brittany, like Fluffy Butt Arts, has been really good about it. Like she kind of took over as our art director maybe 2 years ago, and so she kind of handles like the murals and things like that almost entire. Like all I literally get to do is like peek at it. She's like, "Are you okay with these characters?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I like all of them except that one." She's like, "Good, I don't care. We're doing it anyways." I'm like, "All right, good talk." They kind of make it like and Marie Scarpanito, she like has been doing like some of like the Photoshop stuff. Like we'll usually create templates in Photoshop, and then she kind of runs with it. Renzo does bad Photoshops with me on a regular basis, like the
Never sending.
Magneto one.
Don't send him pictures no more.
No, he takes them off the screen. He just like takes a screenshot and makes something happen. But yeah, Adam Satani, like he's been
Wild.
making like beats and video stuff. So everybody has skill sets. I need to do a better job of letting go, like you said, just
Let go and
letting
let GAM.
Yeah,
I'll let
D
Gam.
King in chat's calling you out about it too.
D King, you need to get a better camera and better internet. That's what I'm
Oh.
saying.
Shots fired.
You think I'm scared of people on a chat? Keyboard war? No, I know that's Dominique. I know who that is.
So
But no, I do. That is a very real problem, and I think a lot of people who are in similar situations where you start something and it's your baby and it kind of grows and becomes bigger than you are. And I can definitely say that with GAM, like I see the influence of all the other people who've become a part of it over the years. I see their fingerprints on it too. And, I have to do a better job of letting go and letting their voices kind of shine through and trusting them. Um, but it's a good group of people. So I
So-
let go. I will let go more and more.
So if you have not been to a GAM event, definitely when everything opens back up, check it out. But I would encourage you to head over to GAM Show and participate in their online events. Ryan mentioned that they have the monthly art and cosplay duels, so you can participate there. And it's a fun way to grow the community, but also get yourself out there and just get some and connect with people. And you might find some opportunities there that may not have been familiar with before, and then find some new connections, make new friends, and it's an all around good time. Like I always love what you've done with GAM, and I think anyone that would come and check it out would really enjoy it.
Oh, thank you. And I got to give a shout out to AIGA because AIGA has been significant to me since, God, I got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Since I was, God, what year was that? 98.
Yeah, tell us about your AIJ story, how you got involved, and what you got out of it.
Yeah, I got involved with AIGA when a cute girl was at AIGA and another girl was like, "Yeah, you should go to the AIGA things to talk to her." I was like, "Good idea. I think I'll do that." But then so much other good stuff happened from that. My teachers were talking about AIGA and I was being called out in class by I remember one teacher said, "Yeah, it's a pretty good project." I was like, "Thanks." He's like, "Yeah, it'd be better if you weren't sandbagging." I was like, "What the sandbagging?"
Was it Blake? Was it Blake that called you out?
No, I think
It sounds like something Blake would do.
I'm sure Blake knows the professor that did it though. Like it was around the same era. Because I was doing a lot of design work outside of school, so I knew how to use a lot of the tools and whatnot already, and even the concept and idea of AIGA. I was young and brash. I'm like, what am I going to learn there? I'm doing like Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, like 24/7 as it is. I don't want to listen to people. And then I actually started going to it, and I met other peers, like people who were, better than I was. Was meeting people. Ooh, Jesse, yeah. I was meeting people.
Sorry, I had to zoom in on myself real quick.
I was meeting people that already had established themselves in their careers, that have walked down the path that I wanted to walk down. I was getting all kinds of new opportunities. I think I spoke with you before, Jesse, about there was a mentorship program at the time with the AIGA where they were taking, I don't know if you guys still do this, they were taking like, okay, this is somebody who owns a business or is high up in a business and a worker there, and then throwing in a few people that were like students to kind of go and be mentored once a month or so and kind of see what it was like. And Curtis Loftus was the person that I got grouped with. And that's where I
Shout
met
out
Jen
Curtis
Kaluki.
Loftus.
Yeah, Curtis Loftus.
Oh,
Probably still surfing. Now there's
yeah.
2 Curtis Loftuses.
In Jacksonville?
Yeah, so I don't know which one we're talking. And they're both in the art field. There's one
Curtis
that owns.
Lofti.
Yeah, there are Curtis Lofti in Jacksonville.
What?
There was one, the one who's like a hardcore surfer and beach guy was the one that I ended up going to his place of business. He had like
The Curtis Group.
Yep, Curtis Group. Yep, that's the one. Okay, good. That was the same one.
Curtis
Yeah,
the
the
surfer.
Yeah, he was super cool, man, and he
Yeah,
was
no, he's
very
great.
open.
Yeah.
And Karen was there, and she was really cool. Like I got to learn just seeing them work. It really inspired me because I was like so awestruck. Like, man, this is cool. They're on the beach. They're just working here when they feel like it. This is the life I want. And going to, I would go to the cocktails and creatives because that was free and I could drink. And then I would hear about the talks and the more professional meetups. And I would go to those and I learned so much. Again, just being in the proximity of other people that are like-minded typically puts you in the realm of opportunity and in a situation where you can actually learn and grow. And AIGA did that for me tremendously. Like I looked up to AIGA. I looked forward to like the poster shows and things of that nature. And a lot of that was inspiration for GAAM. Like when I started putting together like the art galleries, like I thought back to like the skate deck shows and things like that. I'm like, okay, this is the bar that I want to be able to hit because I thought these things were cool and I want to make sure that we're at least doing that. Otherwise it's a disservice to kind of like my profession and my peers. So I would heavily advise anybody who's in the creative field, sign up for freaking AIGA. Like get around other people who are good. Like don't surround yourself with people that will help you get better. They'll help you find jobs. They've been through the problems you're going through. Don't just sit there by yourself and be like, I hate the world. No one likes my design. Every designer thinks that, but at least be around other designers who think like that.
It's almost like stumbling upon a group of people who are just like you, and you're like, where have y'all been this whole time?
It really is.
We've been here.
Like I thought it was just in the classrooms. I was like, okay, the other designers are just in these classrooms in these halls. And then, now I would think that, okay, the designers are just on Behance and DeviantArt and this, and this. But they're all around us. And if you don't put yourself into these other kind of obvious scenarios of where they are, you're missing out, you're cheating yourself, and you really should go. I think for a lot of us, there's a certain level of fear of being amongst our peers and worrying that we don't measure up, that we're not good enough to be in that conversation.
Yeah, that's not true at all.
No,
Yeah.
It really isn't. We all suck.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Wow, speak for yourself.
Except for Tess, who should be
She's
hired
going
by
to EA.
Yes. But we're all constantly growing, and AIGA is great at that. So I can't endorse that enough.
I hear you, and I agree. The community aspect of it, I think, is awesome, and even though we're all kind of competitors in a sense, like we're all going after a lot of the same jobs, and we all have a lot of similar backgrounds and skill sets. We're all cool. Like we're all good people. We all want to connect. We learn from each other.
Yeah.
And
I've beefed and rivaled with so many people that I'm friends with and that I've worked with. Like I remember I lost the poster show to I don't know if you know Levi Ratliff. He's over there at Autoline. He does all kinds of sick design stuff. I remember when the poster show the portfolio show came out and I lost. I was like honorable mention and Levi won. I'm like, whose poster beat me? Man, forget this guy. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's a pretty good poster though. And then like maybe 2 years later, we're working side by side at like East Side stuff. He's like, bro, I remember seeing your poster. That was pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, I saw your poster too. I was really salty about it. That was a good design. And we worked on so much stuff together. Like we were so inspirational to one another. Like I love Levi to death.
He's awesome, yeah. And a great person to meet and get to know, and finding those people in these communities. It's you're finding those folks that have your similar interests, that have your same ambitions, same goals. And then one thing that I took away from it, that I do now to give back, to pay it forward, is when I showed up to my first Cocktails and Creatives, shout out to Ken K Dog Jax, Ken Panganaban.
Oh, Ken is awesome.
Yeah, he's a good
He's
dude.
a good guy.
Like I was, as outgoing as I am, I'd show up. I was like, I don't know anybody, and I just like walked up to the first person I saw, and it was Ken, and he introduced himself, and he's like, yeah, you should meet. He started asking me like, what do you do? What kind of design do you like? He's like, well, you should go meet Karen. There's Russell. There's Varric. There's Dennis, and just like, and he
that
would,
whole crew is good.
yeah, and he like introduced me to like everybody, and for me, I thought that was so beneficial to experience that, I felt that it was not. I felt it was important for me to do the same to pay it back. So now anytime
That's what he does in any CNC that we've ever been to, or any event. Jesse's there. That's what he does, because that's also what he did to me whenever I first started going to AIGA events, and then he's still continuously doing it to this day.
Was that before you became the director of communications at EA?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes, this is another time period.
Gotcha, way back. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll do that. I'll
Such a
put.
good guy.
Oh, appreciate it.
You're one of the people I wanted to work with, Jesse. Even like as a student, I was like, get this kid in my damn class. Like I'll figure out a way.
I was like, I'm done with school. No, I don't want any more class. I'm out.
See this kid working in the library. I'm like, man, his type is phenomenal. I feel like I was like an old kung fu master looking at his southpaw punch style. It's great. I must take him under my wing and then destroy him. But it never got to happen.
We'll definitely collabo. I mean, I am such a slacker when it comes to poster design. So, and I know that
I just want to work with Tess. I forgot about you.
Ah!
I'm moving on to the greatness.
EA Sports.
It's in the test.
But yeah, with AIGA, just kind of going back there, it's a great community, and it's not, and something we've been kind of pushing it is around membership, and it's not about money. We don't, if you don't want to join, we don't want to force anyone to join. What we want you to do is to experience, like the story that you just told, the story I told, the story Tess told, like experience that for yourself. Like show up.
Be up my membership right now while we're talking.
Yes, and do the lowest, the contributor level. We don't want to take your money. We just want you to keep coming out, participate with us, show up at our events. All right, sweet. But yeah, I mean, you can join for as little as $50 a month. That's my spiel. Excuse me, $50 a year. $50 a month.
Dang, Jesse, come on, man.
I'm gonna put my Cash App in the chat. That's $50. But yeah, I mean, we encourage people to keep coming out and hanging out with us, and we do our best to create programming to help to again unite and inspire the community, to show people that Jacksonville is the industry itself is just full of people who are so talented and that want to help you, and you can learn from it. Like
membership's also just about helping us put on events similar to this, and also helping the community grow. We don't necessarily need, like Jesse said, we don't necessarily need the membership, but it is appreciated.
Yeah, let's seal the deal. Let's make it official. Like you're one of us, and then once you become a member,
one of us.
Yeah.
One of us.
And once you sign up, it's like you can put it on your resume, and you can identify with that and have those conversations with those employers. Like, I'm connected with the AIGA chapter, and yes, I know so and so, and then it's crazy how like hanging out at those events and you start meeting people and they just start connecting you, and these things just start happening. And
find out about so many job opportunities, and it works. I don't know how else to, like, it's very simple when you're around, because you're now surrounded by people who are at those jobs. So whenever there is a job opening, usually they've already talked about it amongst themselves. Like, it's very incestuous at times. So it's like, if you're not in that circle, you're going to hear about that opening last. And you're not going to have that in, which you do need. Like, that's the reality of life. You can't get by on solely your skill sets.
And and just like what you did with folks that you help mentor and help them find their path, like if you're trying to find work, or if you're trying to pivot into, let's say you're a print designer and you want to get into digital, or if you're digital and you want to get into print, or you'll find those people that will share those experiences and help you and mentor you so you can find a way to get into those spaces. and absolutely like people you name like Karen and Varric, and like you get to ask questions. Like they're real world professionals that have been doing this for a long time, and they're always willing to give back, and they want to teach, and they want to help you grow.
Mm-hmm. Varric has helped me out for years now.
Shout out Varric Rossetti,
He's Wolf and Cub.
Wolf and Cub, Emily and Varric.
Yeah, like he's contributed to so many GAAM shows, like the Invitational Art Auction. I remember when we were setting stuff up for the Icons exhibit at Mosh, and he came by just to help me push up these giant pixel statues, you know? So he has no reason to. He doesn't need to. He does it because he just wants to help somebody else out. And that's how I've seen a lot of people in AIGA have been. Like, yes, we're competitive. Like that goes without saying. But the people who are choosing to spend their time there are there because they're good people, because they want that sense of community. They want to see things grow and develop.
Can we do some quick AIGA spiels? I have a few slides that we can talk through real quick.
I thought you were going to ask us to do like charades. I was like, oh crap, I'm not ready.
Okay.
Here we go. So we do appreciate our members, and there's a few design leaders in the group that we want to give a shout out to. Let's see here. So the design leader, that's one of the highest levels of one of the higher contributing levels of membership, and it means you're just giving us more money. And again, we don't ask for more money, but we certainly appreciate those that continuously give to the chapter, because it does support us financially. Big shout out to Russell Quadros. He's been a longtime design leader. Nick Leonard, who is at Fable Heart Media, he was a design leader member last year with us, and we appreciate your support for the chapter. And actually, Tess, you actually started working with Nick at Fable Heart, so shout out to Nick and Mike. And also
Look at that guy with the short haircut.
I clean up well. That picture's a couple years old.
It's like you and Russell are trying to be brothers.
There's no
smizing though. He's got the smize going on right now.
The smize?
He's smoldering right now. He's smoldering.
Yeah. I could never compare to Russell. He's a beast. He's the man. No, we love Russell, and he was past president, and he's another mentor of mine and good friend of all of us who kind of took us under his wing, introduced us to all the creatives that we know. And so the reason why I'm up there is that I knew that Russell was continuously giving. I mean, he kind of took a step back after taking a step back. He once he finished his term as the president, because he's been with the board for a long time, and he focused on building up his agency, and but he was still contributing monetarily to us. He would still show up to our events, and for me, it's like, oh my gosh, like I was inspired to continue to give back, and I was so I said, you know what? For me, as someone who was given so much, I want to give back even more. So I decided to sign up to be a leader. So, and it's not about the money, and I have no problem with giving more where I can, but I just thought that was super cool. And so I signed up to be a design leader. And also Ron Edelin, who is our most recently our education co-chair. His family is growing. He's a professor at JU. So he's got a lot going on, but I just love that he wanted to still contribute, and he's helping us financially. And but just want to give a quick shout out to all the folks that are making it possible. So if you're interested in signing up, head over to aiga.org/join. Cosplay. We'll come back to that real quick.
Russell's in cosplay?
No, I had a slide up for you.
I want to see.
You'll see it on the stream in just a sec. But quick heads up on an event this week called Los Últimos, which is a documentary about letterpress in Argentina. We'll have the actual filmmakers with us on the Zoom call doing a Q&A afterwards, and that's October 10th. If you can still submit a poster for our Design Plus Music poster show, submissions are due tomorrow. But I'm may or may not know about an extension.
Send me that link. I'll put that within our group too. Like that, people should get on that.
For
I know
sure.
there was. I love
On
poster
it.
shows.
So we're partnering with businesses around Jax to put up posters designed by creatives in our community, and the whole idea is to create a piece around your favorite music album, whatever it is that makes you it reminds you of summer. It was originally the Always Summer Poster Show mixtape. Shout out to Patrick Carter and crew for developing that event that we continue to hold today. So that deadline's coming up, but you may still have time to work on the poster. So stay in touch with us on our channels to get some news on that. You know Kendrick Kid, right?
Yeah.
Kendrick
skills are sick.
Oh, he's a beast.
Man, him and Levi team up all the time.
Yeah.
They still do.
Half-tone deaf.
Yep.
He's speaking with speaking of Ron Edelin and JU. He's speaking at the school with it's called the Guest Lecturer Series, AIGA plus JU. And he will be there, a virtual session October 22nd at 10 a.m. So definitely follow us on our socials to get those details. We'll send out the link to get in to the event. We do have a pumpkin carving event this month, October 29th from 6 to 8, hosted on Zoom. Pumpkin carving. I'm sorry. What did I say?
You just said it literally.
Oh.
It's carving.
Oh. Sorry, I just kind of like looking at the screen. I'm like,
It's a multimedia, basically. So if you don't want to actually carve a pumpkin, you don't have to. You can paint. You can draw. You can
that's
do
kind of cool.
anything you want. But it's just a great way for everyone who wants to talk. Come hang out with us. We'll be drinking, talking about anything, and carving pumpkins.
That's at first I thought you were talking. Oh, I don't know if I. Yeah, this should be safe. If not, you can bleep it out, Jesse. I thought you meant it was carving, like carved vodka. Like this is Jacksonville. It's like pumpkin carving. I'm like, how did that happen? Okay.
hey, and you don't have
partnership.
to partake to have a good time. You can just hang out.
Drink water.
Speaking of, we used to be about being rowdy and having the most fun, but I think we're definitely taking a more responsible approach these days. So, but yeah, come as you are. If you want to have a bevy, do it. If you want to hang out and draw, do it. It'll be a great event. I threw this slide in here real quick. Adobe Max is free this year, so talking about how we can help our audiences and listeners, check out Adobe Max. Go register. This is an expensive conference, and they're doing it for free. And there are some incredible speakers, just a couple I saw on the list, like Chris Doe. We know who he is. Like even musical acts like Tyler the Creator. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's free, and you can register for that.
My day job was gonna pay for us to go to it this year too. I was like, man,
just give me the money.
Oh, I've tried.
There's also the AIGA Design Conference coming up, so feel free to check that out. There is a price tag there, but any design conference you can invest in is well worth the money. And also, if you go to the main AIGA page, wherever you are in the country, you can find events. So if you go to aiga.org, look up events, you'll see the events listed by city. And no matter where you go, look for that AIGA community, because they will help you get in to the and network and help you break into the scene. We do have an Alphabet Soup coming up next month on November 17th. It's a Thursday. That is a big meetup of all the organizations. So AIGA, AAF, AMA, FPRA, IABC, the GAAM, PRSA. So these are the marketing, communications, advertising groups. We all come together. So this event will be pretty cool too, because we're going to have breakout sessions. So you can rotate and get a little nugget of knowledge from each group that you sign up for, so we can help you continue to grow and develop yourself, especially now with us in lockdown and finding those work opportunities, always an opportunity when you get a chance to up your skill set. I think it's well worth the investment. And quick shout out to AIGA Unidos. That's it's a group that is putting on events celebrating Hispanic heritage. We have a full schedule through October, so please check out their website at aigaunidos.com. Design Week Tallahassee, our friends in Tallahassee have a Design Week that actually extended through the end of the year, so they have stuff going on live stream all the time. So be sure to check them out at Design Week Tallahassee. And again, if you want to seal the deal and you like what AIGA is doing and you want to help us keep it going, please consider becoming a member. We have something like a Discord, which I think is a term in the gaming community people know about. So we have a Slack.
Slack.
It's like our Discord. Essentially, it's a chat platform where we all get together. A lot of folks in the design community use this Slack. So if you're looking for a job, or if you want to connect with people, or if you have something coming up and you want to share about it, jump into the Slack. We'd love to have you. And let's see here. Oh, that was my spiel for AIGA. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Let's see here.
Rapid fire questions.
All
I'm
right,
ready for
Tess.
this.
All right, Tess, take it away.
You
7.
ready? Okay, perfect. That's it. The end.
So we do have some questions, some rapid fire questions for you, Ryan.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord. Okay.
What was your first pet?
Cat. His name was Raisin.
Ooh, what are you working on right now that you want to share?
Oof. GAAM Gaming League.
Okay.
It's coming soon, hopefully.
Console or PC?
Ooh. Console.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Subbed or dubbed?
Oh, damn. How many enemies do you want me to create right now?
All of them.
I'm going to go with dub. I ain't got enough time to read.
Goku or Vegeta?
Vegeta.
All right. What's your favorite Smash Brothers character? Doesn't matter which one.
Minecraft Steve. That's
Wow.
just to troll the community. That's just to troll you.
No. Which variation? Which weapon?
Oh god, I don't even know. I think I've played Minecraft -7 times. I don't know anything about it.
iPhone or Android?
Android.
Mac or PC?
It's the person, not the machine.
Okay. Fruits or vegetables?
Fruits.
Disney or Pixar?
Pixar.
All right. That's the end of those.
Man, that was scary.
You
That was very
you passed.
Oh.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think we can go ahead and start concluding the podcast. Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge and to give back to the community. If you want to follow Ryan and GAAM, check them out at I Love GAAM or GAAM Show. Ryan streams almost daily to connect with the community. Yeah. So yeah, check him out. Like, you play games, you talk about the cool stuff coming up with GAAM, and GAAM also has tons of offshoots in other little areas like GAAM Fam. There's the fitness group. So there's whatever audience you're in, there's a space for you at GAAM, and everyone is welcome. So yeah, any closing thoughts, Tess and Ryan?
EA should hire Tess, and GAAM is all about being inclusive. Be original, do good. Kind of became our motto over time, and I hope that everybody keeps that mantra going as we go through these very difficult times in the rest of the world.
Ooh, that's something I want to touch on real quick before we close. Yeah. The representation aspect of it, and I think that's something that came up before. How do we get more black creative or black gamers, minorities, just people from all over? You said you're a very inclusive group, and I love the representation that you're creating, and then you're also creating that inclusive space for everyone to feel like they can come and join and be a part of that scene. So that I certainly appreciate you for doing that and carrying the community forward.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's sometimes a very difficult and awkward conversation to have, and an awkward problem to admit many times. We had to be honest with ourselves as a team when we would look over the things that we're doing. I remember there's 2 specific moments I remember. One, we had done a cosplay shoot and we finished the product and everything, and I'm looking at the poster and we're all like, oh yeah, this looks awesome. And I'm like, damn, we got a lot of white girls on this poster. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm part white, so I was like, I'm okay with that. But I was like, we're missing something here. And like, we had Asian people in the poster, but sometimes Asian people are very pale, and we had a guy there, but he was in a mask, and the other person who's diverse didn't show up, and you can't explain all that in a poster. People just see the poster, and so we had to be real with ourselves. Like this is a problem. We need to figure out how we can fix this going forward. And because our team is very diverse, like we're mostly women and minorities of all kinds. So it's like, this doesn't represent that, doesn't represent the community. So we had to be honest, and we actually had to make an effort, as weird as it sounds, just when we're trying to put together a shoot. It's very similar to how people have to put together commercials, to be honest, and other marketing materials. Like whenever it's a super corporate company and like they want to put a black girl on there, like, okay, we got to use the safe kind of black girl. What kind of bouncy brown hair can she have? I mean, that is literally, you see it on so much stock photography and whatnot. But we were like, okay, but what represents the people? Like, we don't want safe,
Mm-hmm.
we want real. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're like, okay, we have to make sure we have X amount of representation. And that was something that has carried us forward, and it's become easier each year, because then as you convey a certain message, then other people feel accepted.
Mm-hmm.
So it became something. So next time we did the auditions or we're looking for talent, more people of different backgrounds felt like it was acceptable for them to even try to achieve this. And so it just keeps on, by addressing the problem and making it real and trying to create a solution and being honest about it. It made to where other people in the community felt open, like, hey, you know what, we want to be represented in this. We want to see it become more diverse. The other time was with I guess in terms of like gender and identity, like that's a very hot topic, and sometimes you have to go through the uncomfortableness and admit the things that you don't know to be able to go forward. Like we've had times where, even to the detriment, people wanted stickers and buttons representing the different identities, and it was something that we wanted to do, and we brought people on the team that identified as transgender, that were bi, and the different denominations, and we're talking about the things that we'd like to do. And I'm like, okay, I'll be like, I'm going to be real with you. I would like to do this, but I can't afford to do it. I can't afford to make the statement this way, because if I only do the stuff for this segment, I have to be able to do it for all the others, because that's the question and the blowback that I'm going to get. So let's figure out other ways that we can be inclusive and make a statement. And that's when we started. I think during one of the love nights, we had something where, oh, I'm trying to remember. I think we had like a meetup or something explicitly for the LGBT like Q community. It was headed up by an amazing woman, Nora. And she was a part of the community, and she was a great friend in all this, in terms of letting us know what it's like for her, in terms of like her life and what her community would like to see, and then us letting go and be like, you know what, we have to trust you that this is the right thing to do. um, and then being educated amongst the team, where like we talk to the people on our team that identify as they, or as different pronouns that we're not used to adhering to, and being open-minded, and then actually talking with them. So like that's, I think we probably went a little bit over time, but
No, no, no,
we
that was a
we
great.
really
That's great.
strive. Yeah, no, we really want to. It's not that we're looking to virtue signal in terms of being, hey, look, everybody's included here, blah blah blah. Like
Right.
I can't stand that crap. I'm like, if you're telling me that just to sell me something, my brain just shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, I grew up a minority. I'm still a minority. I didn't change. Being a mixed kid in the South wasn't the easiest. I've dated interracially, and I've had to go through things where I've been followed in the parks by the police. I've been put on the corner and had rifles taken out.
Oh my God.
Um, I've I've been there when my friends were being kicked out of their homes in the church because of their choices and their identity. And I remember seeing great things that Jasmine did for people who were being thrown out like that. And so that's why that's such a big part of what GAM is, because I don't know how else to help the next generation and other people get through all those times that I've seen without being a part of the solution for that. So that's kind of like where I stand on it, and where GAM does.
Oh, for sure. And And I think it's important the work that you're doing and communicating that representation, because and with AIGA or even with GAAM, you're welcome wherever you come from. You are welcome to be here. You're one of us. No matter what, we're here to look out for you, right? So, and we're here to look out for each other, and we want to promote each other's growth, and whatever space you're in, whether it's design, whether it's gaming, it's not owned by any one group.
No.
Like it's there for everyone, and we want you to know that this is a space for you. It's a space. It's for us and by everyone. It's by us and for everyone, right? So, so yes, thank you so much for moving that forward and helping people see that they are welcome to be welcome in this community. They can be themselves. We're here to design. We're here to game. We're here to have a good time. There's no reason to divide us. So I appreciate what you're doing, and thank you for doing that.
No worries. Thank you guys. Thank y'all for having me, and EA hire Tess.
Yeah. Cool. Well, everybody, please make sure to follow I Love GAAM again, and GAAMshow.com. I am Jesse the Bison with AIGA, and thank you with my co-host Tess Guidi for being on here with me. And Ryan, again, thank you so much. We'll definitely connect with each other more. Let's get some more creatives into the gaming scene. Let's get more gamers into the creative scene. We're here to help each other out. And with that, this has been the Two Creatives Podcast. Thank you all very much.
Make your posters.
Yeah.